Well, thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to the listeners in the U.S. Without any further ado, I would like to hand over to our Group CEO, René Obermann, Group CFO, Tim Höttges, on the announcement of the succession management at Deutsche Telekom beginning of 2014. We'll do a very brief introductory statement by Tim and René, and then we'll follow up with a short Q&A.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for joining in. I think the key word from Stefan's intro was succession management, and I do think this marks a change in the culture of DT because we're planning it, we're doing it well together, Tim and I, as we have worked over the last 12 years. We're doing it, very closely and make sure that it's a smooth transition and no disruption. That I want to say right at the beginning. You heard all the news, and I'll be very brief. I asked the board, the supervisory board today, to let me go by the end of next year, and also I'm very happy with the board decision to appoint Tim. This is fully endorsed by myself. In fact, nobody else comes even close to his performance. So I think that it's an excellent choice. He's the best man for that role. Why, from my side now, it's really simple. I had great years as the chief of T-Mobile when we grew the business from a small business to a large international business over many years. And I joined DT in the T-Mobile division back in '98, and I became group CEO for DT end of 2006. And at the time, the company had massive problems with its competitiveness, service quality, and many other things. And the last 6 years, and then by the end of next year, 7 years, were extremely, cost a lot of energy because, the challenges were immense, and I think we mastered at least most of them pretty well. We're much more competitive now than we used to be. We mastered all the, the scandals back in 07, 08 up until 010. So we had a lot of things to sort out, and I've given everything I could. So I think it's a good timing now to prepare for the transition and to ensure that it's seamless and that it happens very planfully and structured. So, and I'll do that with Tim, as I said earlier on. Today we have the best network, we have the best customer service. Our brand reputation has increased significantly financially in comparison to many others in our peer group. I think we're fairly solid. And our future plans have been explained to you, and I think overall the market response to these plans was positive. So, we're swimming a little bit against the stream here because we're investing whilst others cut. But we do think that in order to turn around the business, it starts to make more sense to invest, particularly if the regulatory changes happens, for which we will fight together in the next couple of months. Also, I'm optimistic that the Metro PCS shareholders will accept the offer early next year, so we can start with the integration or the merger of the two companies. As far as my personal future goes, I have not always been at the helm of a large corporation like this. I started as a small entrepreneur by myself, and I built a company which, at the end of the day, gave home to several hundred employees and still is in the market today. So I'm an entrepreneur by heart, and I see my future in a smaller company, in a smaller environment, closer to technology, product development, and the customer again, with a different work profile or work description than you can do it as a CEO of a large corporation like this. This company is highly influenced by regulation, by political things, and so forth. So there is little time for me personally, too little time to really, deep dive into operational topics. And I'd like to go back to the machine room, if you want. And therefore, I'm happy to hand over to Tim to take over this and run it with new energy. And I will look for something different in 2014. So I think that's it from my side. I hand over to Tim. I want to thank you for again for joining in today, and I hope you stay convinced that we are pursuing the right approach, the right strategy, and do not expect any disruption. Tim and I will work together closely. Thank you. Tim?
Thank you, René. Hello together, everybody here. So I feel honored of the offer, and becoming the group CEO by the end of next year. But at the same time, I feel even the duty of that big role here within the company. So I'd like to thank the supervisory board and even René for this process which we have defined here. Second, RM prepared for that role? I would say yes, because I have done so many jobs within this company over the last 12 years. I started as a CFO of T-Mobile. I became the head of T-Mobile Germany. I was head of the European entities within T-Mobile Group. I was ran the fixed line business in a difficult spot, and I'm now 4 years in the role of the group CFO. So I know this company, and I know exactly where we have to improve on the one side, but I even know about the strength of this company. And therefore, I'm going to build on this experience in the group and feel well prepared for my new role. With regard to the strategy, you were all here in Bonn and witnessed what we have set out. I think we have very much prepared our strategy for the next 3 years. It's a story about stabilizing the revenue and then going back to growth. It's a story about investing into Germany and into the US. It's a story about a further transformation of our cost base, and therefore this is the thing I'm going to execute along the line next year together with René, and then the years after with the team. Where do I stand from? And that is maybe my last sentence. You all know me. I'm going to be authentic as I am today. I'm going to be reliable and predictable for you. I know the value for the capital market in this regard. And that's, let's say, what you could expect from me. You know me. I feel very pleased about the process. I like to stress that because it gives me the opportunity now to find an appropriate successor without any time pressure, which gives me the opportunity to even, do what is necessary in the US with regard to our metro integration. It will help me to learn more about the innovation part, which is very relevant for our differentiation in the relevant markets, and to open up my mind just only from a finance perspective, even into the market and customer perspective. That's the plan. I think a good plan, well laid out, and if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please press *1 on your touch-tone telephone. The operator will announce your name when it's your turn to ask a question. In case you wish to cancel your question, please press the # sign. For your questions, please press *1. For questions, please press *1.
I think we'll give another 15 to 20 seconds for those who are on the ski piste, etc., to hand in a question. If no question arises, actually, then within the next 30 seconds we would end the call. So, last call.
The first question is from Mr. Matthew Royard from BNP. Your line is open.
Oh, hi. Well, first, if I can...
You're not coming through.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, so I just quickly wanted to congratulate you, René, for all the work done. It's made quite a difference, and also Tim for the new appointment. Besides that, I just wanted to know, Tim, if you already had in mind a few candidates for the new CFO position, or if it was still very early days.
Look, even if I would have some candidates in mind, I would not share the names at that point in time. But we have a lot of good people internally, and there might be even some international people outside. So let's have a look onto that one within the next weeks, and we will let you know who might be then the final candidate being chosen by our supervisory board. Chosen by our supervisory board.
So we have another question from Mr. Jonathan Den from Barclays.
Oh, hi. I thought I'd take the opportunity to ask if there'd been any positive steps in German regulation since the Capital Markets Day, while I've got you both on the line.
Yeah, we handed in the was heißt Antrag auf English? The application, I guess, is the right form for vectoring allowance and all the things related to it. We also made a bit of a compromise in as far as we opened up our view towards competition, that wherever we have not built or will not build out, or wherever somebody else builds out faster, they might, but then it has to be reciprocal in terms of that we get access. And as you can imagine, if we get the allowance for this, we'll push for it aggressively, and then we'll get as much land as we can, because competitors haven't built out much so far. They had the unbundled sub-local loop already for some time, for years, and they have only built out 3% of all the cabinets. So we handed it in. It'll be dealt with hopefully pretty soon. I think, no, I don't say that. We will push for it. I will push for it personally, and we will be relentlessly pushing for this. And I think Nelly Kroes is backing us. Many senior politicians are backing us with the idea of allowing vectoring in the build-out. So I'm optimistic that in the next couple of months we get clarity on this, and that we can build out pretty fast thereafter.
We have another question from Mr. Simon Whedon from Citigroup. Your line is open, sir.
So thank you very much. If I could add my congratulations to both of you for the pending changes. A couple of quick questions. So one was, why have you gone for quite such a long transition? I'm not trying to hurry you out the door, René, but that is a particularly long one by standards of the sector. And the second question is, I wondered if you could share with us what you feel has changed the most beneficially since you became CEO at DT. To what extent, what in the company has changed the most that you're perhaps most proud of? Thank you.
Happy to answer that. I think the culture in the company changed fundamentally in as far as the willingness to move aggressively forward with innovation, to challenge what was yesterday still thought to be the right thing in this fast-moving market. So the agility in the company has changed already. The willingness to make courageous moves has changed. Also the culture in as far as compliance goes. We used to be pretty challenged by regulators, and when I took over, we had the espionage problem here. We had massive compliance topics. We had data losses, data scandals all over the place, and so forth. And as of today, our company is regarded very reliably. Customers trust us with their data. We have a much higher reputation in this regard. We almost are as a role model when it comes to IT and data security, and I'm pretty proud of that as well. But on the other side, we're much more competitive. Maybe I should start with this. We're more competitive than we used to be. Our market share has improved. We're defending ourselves extremely well against cable so far, if you compare that with others. We are building and have built the best network and service quality. We have resolved significant portfolio issues in Europe, Poland, UK as just two examples. We have started to resolve the US. We haven't completed it yet, but I do think we've made significant progress, particularly last year. New spectrum, new management, transaction with Metro, and so forth, breakup fee. So there are plenty of things, but I think the most important thing is that the company has learned that it needs to transform itself, and that we're well on the way to do that.
Transition time?
Transition time? Oh, look, Simon, there's a lot to do in the next 12 months. The INS strategy has to be implemented. The US transaction has to be completed. We have a number of innovation initiatives which need to go in the market, which need to come into the market. We need to push for the growth areas, particularly mobile internet initiatives, build up the networks. We need to find new structures underneath Tim, underneath myself. So there is a lot to do, and Tim will be very busy in the next couple of months with year-end preparation of AGM and other things. And thereafter we'll go together for a deep dive in preparing him for the areas where he hadn't had a chance so far to gain deep insight. And therefore I consider the 12 months is a comfortable, structured transition period. And he and I are not rivals, we are not letting ourselves get divided. And we will not accept that people bypass me or bypass him or do whatever they can. We will defend any political behavior in the company, defeat that or fight that as we did in the last 12 years. So we can handle this. And I think the organization will very soon understand that there is no way to separate the two of us in the transition period. Okay, Stefan just had one more question.
The last question is from Mr. Ulrich Rate from Jefferies. Your line is open, sir.
Oh yes, thanks very much. I have two questions. One for Mr. Obermann, maybe. Is there any sort of sense or any reason you could give us for the timing? Is there any external opportunities that you currently find particularly interesting that sort of informs your timing, or is there any debate or event or development within the company that has made it particularly interesting for you to sort of hand in notice at this point? The second question is for Mr. Höttges. I mean, any big leadership change always sort of also raises the question of what will change. I mean, do you have already any areas in mind where you might want to put the emphasis on different areas, or where you would sort of deviate from the course that the company has taken so far? Thank you.
First of all, I dare to say, but Tim will definitely say that again, the strategy which we have developed, we actually did develop it together. So if he says anything different now, it would be somewhat weird. It was not that I imposed the strategy on him. That's not the way we cooperate here anyway. No, there was, it's just a good timing it's just a good, I think, a better practice to prepare for the transition and do it well. And, Tim has a number of things to do next year. I have a number of things to do next year, and therefore we just take the time it needs. I'll be fully engaged, and, by the way, I hold a significant number of shares in the company. I want the company to do well. I remain fully engaged, and then, we'll see what happens. Early 2014, I expect to do something different. I don't expect to remain unemployed, if that answers your question. But I'm not going to talk about it now.
Ulrich, the pace which Deutsche Telekom has is quite fast, and just remember that we executed on the Investors Day just 1.5 weeks ago, which was tremendous work for us here. Now we had a very quick decision on this on the succession here on René and how we're going to proceed in this regard with our supervisory board today. So therefore, I had a lot of questions personally to how I would handle this issue and how I would come along with this new role here. So therefore, I would not give any kind of indication with regard to changes in the team nor to the strategy at that point in time. We have a clear strategy laid out, and I will take, let's say, next year to find the right people for my succession, and even to, if we have people which we have to question, then to do that in due course, but not now, just another 2 days in front of Christmas. So give me some more time.
Well, thanks Tim, and thanks René. I think we'll end the call here. Obviously the IR team will be at your disposal for further questions. I can assure you that it will be the last major message of Deutsche Telekom you'll hear this year, because the entire IR team will be on vacation from next week onwards. We wish all of you Merry Christmas, a good festive season, and a prosperous and healthy New Year, and speak to you the latest early next year. Thank you all. Bye-bye.